Hey everyone, so I wanted to do a recap of a survey that I sent out last week, and then I did a live session with a group of music lovers and just exploring what's happening in the music industry at the moment, what music lovers are interested in, and what musicians might want to focus on. So I learned a lot from the session just talking to people because as a musician, I kind of get in my own head about what's happening in the world, and I really learned a lot actually. So I'm going to share some of that with you right now. So this was the chat that we had just about what's happening in the modern music landscape. Here are the survey results. I'm just going to go through some of this very quickly. So there were just 12. I think we've had a few more responses now, but just the thing to note here is most of the people that responded were, around my age group and up, which was great. One thing I'd love more is to get the opinions of people who are a bit younger and how they perceive what's happening in the music industry, because my guess is it's very, very different to how I think about it. It's pretty even sort of split of people who were answering it. People mainly in Australia, a couple of other places around the world. We had someone live on the session from Canada. It was very interesting to get their perspective on things. The first question that I asked in that survey was, what are the bands that speak to you the most? The thing that was cool about this response was just the diversity of tastes that music lovers have. But I have to say, the people who answered the survey have a pretty good taste in music. I also learnt about a couple of new bands and stuff. So that was, for me, mind expanding. But these were sort of the main categories. Radiohead, I think, got 4 mentions. Then, people who answered this are into sort of classic rock stuff, singer-songwriter stuff, which I was happy to hear about because I sort of feel like I fit into that category more than any other category. But also people who are into pop music and stuff that's a bit more mainstream. And the second question was, what do you love about listening to music? What do you get out of it? I wanted to ask this question to really understand the value that people perceive in music. What is the real value? What do we actually get from music? Why do we respond so strongly to it? So emotional resonance came up a lot. These are some of the direct quotes from people, but emotional resonance came up a lot. This idea of that if you can't articulate yourself, a song can help you tap into emotions that maybe you didn't even know you had and sort of bring that out, has that sort of magical aspect. And a number of people mentioned this idea of like it's an escape hatch, or it's a way to shift my mood, or it's a place I can go to. It just sort of takes me out of the ordinary, mundane human experience into something kind of bigger and more, exciting or calming, whatever it might be. Next question was, what's frustrating about music these days? So just the music that's out there. Lots of references to radio stations not really being representative of interesting sort of indie music or creative music. This idea of junk music, that it's just hyper palatable. It's just like dipping into a bag of lollies. It's sort of good at the time, but doesn't really leave you with much afterwards. Feeling that live music or intimate live music sort of is drifting away because people are either at home watching lots of stuff or not used to going out as much. Someone mentioned auto-tune should be banned. There's almost nothing I like. I prefer musicians who play real music. So again, I think this is representative of people sort of in this age group who are used to experiencing live music differently. All right, next one. Do you feel something's off with the industry? So this one's more focused on what's happening with the relationship between musicians, the industry, and music fans, music lovers. So there were quite a few things about streaming not being a really healthy element. There's a huge quote there, which sort of sums up a lot about how I have been thinking about streaming, which is I find the focus on Spotify offensive, especially since it doesn't do anything close to pay musicians fairly. I would think the music industry as a whole has been sick for a long time. In my view, major labels are focused on what artists can do for them, not what they can do for artists. It's been like that for a long time. There's an overabundance of talent shows. I agree. Emerging artists seem to think they will have immediate success, and they don't understand it takes years to build a career. So some really, really insightful responses. What's good about the modern music industry? So this was really interesting to contrast what people think is not good and what's good. One thing here is, well, in the previous question, people are sort of criticizing streaming. In this answer, people are really loving streaming, actually. That it's so easy, it's so convenient, you have access to everything. It's really just so good from a consumer standpoint that it's hard to sort of resist it, you know? It kind of is like that, the junk music. It's hard to resist the junk food of music. But there's a real love for the modern streaming for music lovers. And I think that's just interesting to note. And then also some mentions of the independent platforms that independent musicians can use, like Patreon, crowdfunding, all those things. So that's what's good about the music industry. If you could wave a magic wand, what would you want to see more of? Some people just mentioned a better deal for musicians, more control for musicians, more online concerts and connections with artists, I guess, you know, globally, so you can connect with an audience everywhere. And then there were a number of answers that were like, this is a hard one, not sure, that sort of thing. And I also found those non-answers quite interesting. To me, that just means that we don't have a really clear vision of what we want to do as musicians and music lovers, and what that's going to look like for us to feel good about making music and fans sort of connecting with that in a way that they feel happy with, that they feel like the artist is being, respected and compensated for the awesome work they do. So yeah, let me just come back to that. So that's why I am going to do a series of these live sessions over the next 2 weeks. And I was going to head in a particular direction, but the survey results and having the chat with music lovers actually has sent me in a different direction to address this question of what is the ideal vision? What is the opportunity that we actually do have if we decide to focus on it and create it? And I think when we set those things up, I think that it just makes a better connection between musicians and music lovers, where things feel fair and good and positive, and the culture is enhanced. You get better music, you get access to better music, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to do a live session on that. So thanks for everyone's input. Thanks for everyone who answered the survey. Thanks to everyone who showed up live on the conversation that we had. If you liked some of this and you want to share your thoughts, I would love to hear your input on this. If you want to continue the journey of these free live sessions that I'm going to do over the next couple of weeks, there are some dates there. There'll be links around this video, or you can go to those addresses there to check those things out. And they're just going to go for 30, 40 minutes, something like that, maybe up to an hour if we do some Q&A or whatever. And if you can't make it live at that time, it's going to be 7 o'clock Melbourne time. Then if you register for it, you'll get the replays and you'll be able to, keep up to date with what we're doing. Anyway, big love. Thanks for checking this out. Love to hear what you think. And thanks for watching. Bye.